That's all the statements collected. Let's run through them all, to see if anything doesn't add up.
To see if anyone's been lying.
That too.
Fitz and I were up in the Moonlight Garden most of the afternoon. Then we heard this sound. Lasted about 3 seconds.
We thought it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there.
Her door was locked. Nobody was answering. So I made Fitz kick down the door.
Poppy and I went in. Freya was right there, laying on her back.
I left my tower and headed down towards the Grand Hall.
But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs. I vacated the library, but before I could begin my ascent, Professor Pointer appeared.
I didn't know what to do, so I ran downstairs to get Fifi.
I heard someone heading down the stairs, just outside my room.
Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it, until the someone began shouting at me.
Eventually, she let me in.
I spotted Detective Hawkshaw coming out of the library.
He emerged from the Pointer staircase, crossed the hall, and begun up the Fellow staircase. As I was passing through the front door, Penelope called out from behind me. I inquired about the professor, and she told me he'd gone up the Fellow Tower.
I told her what had happened. She didn't believe me. She got angry.
I thought she was playing a trick on me, so I punched her in the face.
I recognized Fiona's voice as well as the voice of my own daughter.
We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He followed us upstairs.
I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared and blocked my path.
Back in the hallway, I bumped into a very concerned-looking Penelope. She was heading up Fellow Tower to find Professor Pointer, so I escorted her.
Poppy left the room for a while. When she came back, she had her father with her, and Fifi too.
Felix and Penny arrived shortly after we did.
A moment later, we were gazing down on the body of poor Freya.
Then I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting.
She took me down to the library. We were in there about 15 minutes.
I quickly decided that I should leave also. I took Penelope with me, and we both went back to our rooms in Pointer Tower.
I wanted to go back to my room, but I realized nobody had told Detective Hawkshaw anything.
An unremarkable hour passed before the gardener finally made his appearance.
I think she was annoyed about being made to wait outside so long, but when I told her about Freya, she fell silent.
That's disappointing.
What is?
All the statements line up with each other.
They don't just line up. Some of them even seem to specifically confirm each other. I need to confirm something with you, Poppy.
Confirm away.
What can you tell us about this cassette tape? Is it yours?
It belongs to Freya. She liked to have music playing while she was painting, you know.
And do you know what kind of music is on this tape?
No idea. Acid jazz?
It's piano music. Sounds an awful lot like your music, to be honest.
Sure it doesn't belong to you?
Why are we even talking about this? Cassette tapes have been redundant for a good few years now.
The tape was found at the crime scene. It was in the gramophone.
It's not mine. I'd never own anything like that.
Why not?
Not my color.
You used to like these colors.
Ridiculous.
We need a clue to compare with the cassette tape. Something that proves Poppy used to like these colors. Let's take a closer look at this. cassette tape found at the crime scene matches the pink cassette player used by Poppy in this old photo.
That is not me.
Yeah, it is. I'll prove it. You look a little different, but Fifi and Freya are pretty recognizable. It's clearly a photo of you with your two best friends. Why'd you tear it up and then hide it?
I think the answer is pretty straightforward. Poppy doesn't want to look like that anymore.
That's it. Makes this whole thing seem kind of irrelevant.
Maybe. It depends on the reason.
The reason she doesn't want to look like that anymore?
The passage of time is a powerful thing.
Hold on. This means that pink cassette tape does belong to you, Poppy.
It used to. I recorded some piano music onto it and gave it to Freya as a gift. Years ago.
Freya could have easily been listening to this tape at the exact moment she was killed. There's gotta be a connection between the tape, the gramophone, and the murder.
There's one other thing I want to know. How did it get that crack down the middle?
I have no idea. Needless noise from tongues expel, unless within the mouth they dwell. The spoken word, unfit for dealing with the shifting form of feeling, stand unblinking in the face of taciturn and soundless space. Foregone drifter, holding fast, days as shadow seeker past. Is it bravery or surrender, accepting that your world will render nothing darker than the gloom some four walls make round a room? Between the lips a silver spoon, a story written all too soon. The chosen dwelling of her heart, unjustly chosen to depart. Lost her liberation lays in the center of a maze. With surging tide, the waves are thrown, an entity of all its own. But on its surface you may see, reflected in the waters be, the orchestrator, pale and still, pulling strings, enacting will. Hard of head, but free of mind, unimprisoned, unconfined. With starry eyes, she sees beyond, behind our walls, beneath our pond. A soul untied, it's hers, it's free. Was then, is now, will ever be. Softly does the flower grow, all in time, and time is slow. Rest a seed within the earth, but do not rush its gentle birth. Hour by hour, day by day, tune your heart to nature's way. Eavesdrop what the stars are saying, earthly tether, slowly fraying, floating, helpless from the worst of jealous hunger, selfish thirst. Take a moment, kneel and meet the flowers growing at your feet. Feathers flashing in the light from a sunbeam gleaming bright. I shield my eyes and turn my head, but all at once I've been misled. Light is shining on the stage, but through the railings of a cage. That's me. I'm on a list of murder suspects. Always thought that would be kinda cool, but it's just tedious.
Falls a little short, doesn't it?
So there are two families living in Tangle Tower?
Mm-hmm. 3 pointers and 5 fellows. 4 fellows.
What's the connection between them?
There isn't one. Not really. It was all built by the Remington family. Flora is a Remington, originally. So was Primrose, my mother. She married into the Pointers, and Flora married into the Fellows.
So, the Fellows and the Pointers own the house now?
Flora owns the house. Depending on who you ask, that means her husband Felix owns it too.
What about your father?
His claim over the house kind of fell apart after my mother left.
Where's your mother now?
No idea. There's something I noticed about Freya's knife wound.
Hit me.
From what we could tell, the blade went in at an exact right angle, perpendicular to Freya's body. And there's only one small pool of blood. Nothing on Freya's hands, or anywhere else. The whole thing is just a little too peaceful. This is mine.
Really?
No, well, yes, it was. I gave it to Freya about a year ago.
What was on it?
Nothing. It was blank. Freya said she wanted to record something.
Any idea how it ended up underwater?
Maybe someone wanted to destroy it, but got really lazy.
What do you make of the statue?
I know that's the only harp in the whole of Tangle Tower. I've never actually seen a real one.
Maybe it's from before your time.
Oh, definitely. You see how old this statue is?
What about the symbols? One of them looks like piano keys.
Yeah, weird. Don't you think that's weird? That the letter isn't addressed to anyone or signed by anyone?
Someone's being deliberately secretive.
Or they're trying to manipulate you. When I first saw it, I thought it looked like Flora was holding a knife with blood on the tip.
You don't think that anymore?
No, it was a stupid thing to say. The room was dark. I was in shock. I'm just an idiot.
But it was blood on the tip. If you hadn't said anything, maybe Fifi wouldn't have checked.
Exactly. It's stupid.
But we would have missed out on an important clue.
Is it a clue? Really? Tell me how it's a clue. Tell me how it helps. Nothing about the knife makes any sense. It's just freaking everyone out. Wish I'd never said anything. Freya would always load up the palette with all the exact colors she was gonna need. I think it helped her zone out and focus on the actual painting itself. Like getting all your sheet music lined up before playing a long piece.
Right. So the blob of black paint in the middle, that was for painting Flora?
Flora's dress, yeah. She wears even more black than I do. Why is the glass cracked down one side?
Natural wear and tear, maybe?
No way. Freya took good care of her stuff. It was my mother's originally.
So, why is it up in Flora's room?
She just gets the most use out of it. Freya would borrow it too sometimes.
Does this belong to you, Poppy?
Now that's not really my style, is it?
But who else would own a tape like this?
Literally anybody? What was inside?
Nothing.
Huh. Whose paints are those?
They belong to Felix, I think.
Is that supposed to be Flora?
Possibly?
Oh. How nice. Hey, that's me. Not a bad likeness.
It looks like you're standing in a rose bush.
Is there something wrong with that? I think everybody sees something different.
Did Freya ever tell you what she saw in it?
Not exactly. She said something about it being from a recurring nightmare.
Sorry, but if it was from a nightmare, why would you paint it and leave it in front of your bed?
Maybe she wanted to take control of it. Giving something a physical form can make it easier to deal with. Well, sometimes.
This is a photo of Fifi and Freya, right?
Yeah,
How come you're not in it? You're friends with them too, aren't you?
I'm not really one for photographs.
Fifi looks like she really admires Freya.
Fifi's loyalty to Freya is unshakable. That belongs to Flora, I think. Is that Fifi's diary? I'm sure I've seen it in her room before.
That's where we found it.
Have you ever read it? Do you know what's written in there?
Nope. I'm sure she wouldn't appreciate me invading her privacy.
I thought you and Fifi were close friends.
Yeah, we are. It's just Fifi's gotten kinda impatient with me recently.
Do you know why?
I'm not sure.
I'm sure she'd tell you if you asked.
Oh, she would. She'd give it to me straight. Probably why I've been avoiding it. Did you find that in Fifi's room?
No? Should we have?
No, it's just... It looks like something she'd use, don't you think? Oh, you've been to the greenhouse? What did you think?
Impressive, I guess. But kind of unsettling, with Fitz lurking in the shadows the whole time.
Yeah, he does that. Don't look at me. I didn't break it.
Does anybody else use the music room?
Yes. I don't know who, but I can tell when somebody else has touched the piano. I think it's kinda cruel to keep 3 birds in one cage like that.
Does Penny not let them out to fly?
Oh, she does. She must do. But I don't think they're allowed to go far. Penny can be a little protective. Never seen that one before. Was it in the greenhouse?
No, we found it in Penny's room.
Ah, right. Those petals.
What about them?
It's nothing. They're just unusual. Yeah, it's mine.
What's so special about it?
I got it from my teacher. It's the first piece I ever learned.
How long have you been playing?
Since the day I turned 6. Family tradition. I was really excited to start learning. As soon as I got out of my first lesson, I told Freya and Fifi all about it. When I arrived at my second lesson the next day, Freya was there too. She hadn't asked permission, just showed up. For 2 whole years, the teacher taught us both.
Was Freya any good?
She would have been even better than me, if she'd stuck with it. But one day, she just stopped coming to lessons.
Why?
That's just it. There was no reason. That's when I realized things were different for her. I don't know what that is.
Weird, considering we found it hidden in your room.
Well, my room is full of junk. There's probably a bunch of stuff hidden in there. I don't mean like... Please stop talking to me. You get some weird insects around here, but I've never seen one like that.
I'm not sure anyone has.
Freya might have. She used to keep beetles in a box in her room.
Why?
For fun, obviously. Is that a gardening trowel?
Yeah, I think it belongs to Fitz.
Really? Never seen him use it. I see a lot of birds up in the rooftop garden. They seem to really like it up there.
Why's that?
It's quiet.
Do you know where those earmuffs came from?
I put them there.
Why?
I found them lying around. I think they belong to Fitz. I put them on the statue so he'd see them. I thought they looked like headphones, like he's in the recording studio with his guitar. No?
If they do belong to Fitz, he hasn't taken them back yet. When did you find them?
This morning.
Where?
I don't know, in a hallway. Can't remember exactly. Where did you find this?
It was in the attic.
Oh, huh. I forgot we even had an attic.
Name, Freya Fellow. Age, 44. Profession, unknown. Likes, unknown. Dislikes, unknown.
Isn't she your mother? How do you not know anything?
I believe other people may have discovered methods of reaching her, but I have little capacity for interpreting nonverbal communication.
And how long has Flora been non-verbal?
She has always been quiet, willing to speak when necessary, but not more.
So what happened to make her stop talking entirely?
She suffered a great loss, something she has been unable to move beyond. Name, Felix Fellow. Age, 53. Profession, none. Likes, collecting objects of negligible monetary value and assigning them personal value. Dislikes, the inescapable realities of human existence. Notes, Felix is my father and legal guardian.
And, is he a good dad?
I have no point of comparison, but I would say no.
No? Why not?
You asked me a binary question. Do not get upset that I provided one of the two possible answers.
What makes him a bad father, Fifi?
He has trouble expressing his emotions, and something of a willful detachment from reality.
Huh. Just like you, then.
Grimoire.
No, he is quite correct. Name, Fiona Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, amateur microbiologist. Likes, the meaningful archiving of information. Dislikes, the superfluous window dressing accompanying the majority of human contact. Notes, kindly disregard the polysyllabic form of my given forename and refer to me instead as Fifi.
How come you prefer Fifi?
How come you prefer Grimoire?
How are you related to the other fellows?
Fitz is my cousin. His father, a man named Flint, was my uncle.
Was?
I do not know if Flint is alive or not. He left Tangle Tower a long time ago.
And what about Freya? How are you related to her?
We share exactly one grandparent. Name, Haksha. Age, unknown. Profession, private detective. Likes, quote, being left alone. Dislikes, quote, being constantly badgered by a weirdo nerd with a clipboard. Name, Freya Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, artist. Deceased. Understand this. Most people find me difficult. They exhibit a noticeable degree of discomfort when talking to me. There it is. Freya, who had a way of being an exception to any given rule, was not at all like this. She is very important, and I will not rest until I understand what has happened to her.
Did you spend a lot of time with Freya recently?
I will say this. In the past year, Freya became, 1, increasingly independent, and 2, increasingly isolated.
Do you know why?
I do not. If you are looking for a speculative, empathetic opinion, try asking Poppy instead.
The three of you are friends.
We are of a similar age, and all highly gifted. 1 scientist, 1 artist, and 1 musician.
Sounds like quite a team.
Name, Fitzfellow. Age, 24. Profession, cryptobotanist. Likes soil, dislikes electric lights.
Hang on. Cryptobotanist? I thought he was just a gardener.
That may well be his preferred label. Mine, however, is more accurate.
Do you and Fitz not see eye to eye, Fifi?
We do not.
Well, I wouldn't have thought so. He's well over 6 foot and you've got to be just barely 5.
So what's your problem with him?
Exactly 1 week ago, I witnessed him sneaking up Pointer Tower. He was making every effort to avoid detection.
So?
He was also carrying a knife. Name, Percival Pointer. Age, 57. Profession, none.
I'm pretty sure he's an astronomer.
Oh yes, of course. How uncharacteristically forgetful of me. Name, Penelope Pointer. Age, 27. Profession, ornithologist. Likes, birds. Dislikes, insects. Notes, Penelope is very beautiful. I have never had very much in common with her. Name, Poppy Pointer. Age, 19. Profession, Apparently Poppy has defaced my notes. Under profession, I had of course originally written pianist, but she has crossed that out and written the ghost of Christmas yet to come. What is your opinion of Tangle Tower?
Oh, it's impressive. Elaborate gardens, unique architecture.
Must be worth a fortune.
Why do you ask, Fifi?
I am the heir of the Fellow family and the Remington family. This makes me the sole beneficiary of Tangle Tower.
That's quite an inheritance.
They can't make you do anything, Fifi. If you don't want the house, just tell them. Or just sell it. Who cares?
You sound like her. I require facts. What do you know?
Well, we know Freya was stabbed with a knife, and then she fell—
Correction. She was stabbed with something. There was no knife found at the crime scene.
Apart from the one in the painting.
Which, as a mere abstract representation, does not count. Nobody has ever been stabbed by the concept of a knife. This belongs to Poppy. In fact, she owns a number of cassette tapes.
What happened to it, though?
It has been left underwater for an extended period of time.
Right, but why?
I do not know why. The statue itself does not interest me, but I do wish to know about those symbols on the harp. Have you deciphered their meaning yet?
We're working on it.
We are?
Curious. Freya is normally highly skilled at capturing someone's likeness, but in this painting, she has accidentally made Flora look quite young.
I think she was just being kind.
Why is that kind? Anyway, I'm far more interested in what Flora is holding. I performed the test on the red paint myself. I discovered that it was in fact not paint, but blood.
What made you want to test it in the first place?
It was Poppy. She told me she thought the painting looked like a bloody knife. I told her not to be ridiculous. My mother owns no such knife. But then I noticed that the color was slightly too dark, and the substance itself was overly viscous.
You noticed that just from looking at it once?
Of course. The red paint on the brush is not paint. It is blood. Same for the palette.
So Freya added the blood to the painting herself?
Or blood got on the brush and palette some other way?
I do not know the answer.
Fifi, did you test the red paint in this pot?
Yes, I did. I discovered it too was blood, not paint.
A whole pot full of blood?
Not a whole pot. It is only partially full.
Yeah, but still. Doesn't that freak you out?
No. In fact, it may be considered rather reassuring. The gramophone belongs to Poppy, but I believe she gave it to my mother, and my mother often loaned it to Freya. Or maybe it is the other way around.
When did it get cracked?
I cannot pinpoint it exactly. All I know is that it must have happened sometime in the last 2 days.
Is she laughing?
That belongs to my mother. I think she must be fond of eggs. There are a number of egg-shaped carvings to be found in the garden and in the Grand Hall.
Yeah, what's the deal with all the eggs?
Some people just like eggs. A wooden carving of my father, made by my father. Although, now that I look at it, I do not understand how he was able to paint the red parts without any red paint. It is a model of Freya, made by my father.
A model of Flora, you mean?
And a man with a beard. And a little red and white creature.
Why would my father make a model of Freya? There is a drawing of me, a drawing of Detective Hawkshaw, and a drawing of Poppy and Fitz. I believe Freya was attempting to communicate something through this painting.
Any idea what it was?
I am not the person to ask. All I see is a blood-red mountain with angry storm clouds brewing above it. As such, I cannot ascertain any meaning from it whatsoever. This photograph is my favorite photograph.
So, why'd you rip it in half?
That was not me. Besides, it was not a half that was ripped off. It was only a third.
Do you know who was reading this book?
It belongs to my mother.
And she left it in the library?
No, my mother has not been in the library for some time. A book. My book.
And what's in it?
Pages. This belongs to Professor Pointer, does it not?
No, I don't think so.
Who else would own such a pointless little telescope?
It's a telescope.
Oh, yes. It has a telescopic lens. It could only be used for looking at things that are far away. The fruit here has a unique chemical makeup. It makes them completely pointless. Unless you wish to cut it down and sell it as a precious stone.
It's not edible.
Depends.
On what?
On the structural integrity of your teeth. Why did Poppy leave shards of glass all over this statue?
What makes you think it was Poppy?
The statue lives in the music room. Who else would it be? I am scared of birds.
Why?
It is an irrational fear. I have no suitable explanation.
Oh,
It is a flower. It reminds me of something, but I cannot say what. Who is this her to whom the message refers?
well, I don't know exactly.
Then how can I meaningfully evaluate this object? Next! An item from Poppy's childhood. Her earliest piano lessons hold some special significance for her.
Why's that?
No idea. She has never graced me with the details, and I am not forthcoming enough to ask.
You two are friends, right?
We are, yes.
But
It is clear to me now that Poppy has become tired of my company.
is it anything to do with Freya?
Oh, no. The changes in Poppy's mood have nothing to do with Freya. Her concerns simply lie elsewhere.
Who is that in the photo?
I'm quite sure that I have no idea. Now, this is interesting. Where did you find it?
In the astronomy tower.
And yet, it does not concern the field of astronomy.
Nope.
In fact, you could even say that entomology is the exact opposite of astronomy.
Yeah, you could.
I would not say that, however.
Oh, you wouldn't?
No, it would be quite naive. To study science in any field is to study the connections between all matter in the universe, living or inanimate. That blade,
It's a troll for gardening.
it is. What a mess. Penelope should tidy up after herself.
These weren't dropped by Penny. They were dropped by birds, I think.
My argument stands.
What's wrong?
Earmuffs do not go on statues.
Is this yours, Fifi?
I do not recognize it. And besides, I would have no use for such a thing. Perhaps it could be used to hang wet laundry?
Was that a joke?
Yes.
There's something about that diary we found in Fifi's room. Something suspicious.
Let's ask her about it.
Is this your diary, Fifi? We found it in your bedroom.
Of course it is mine. Ridiculous question.
Why is it locked up like that?
You seriously require an explanation. Very well. A fairly common concept, the so-called secret diary, is favored in particular by girls between the ages of 10
So, there are secrets written in here?
and this particular diary is unused.
It doesn't look unused.
It's somebody else's diary.
How could you arrive at that conclusion? It is kept in my bedroom. It is mine.
We need a clue to compare with the diary. Something to prove who the original owner was. Let's take a closer look at this. This blue book is the same thing as the secret diary, which proves it belonged to Freya.
You were hiding Freya's diary in your room, and you kept it locked, too.
Why would I do either of these things?
Fifi didn't want anyone to see personal secrets within Freya's diary.
Is this true, Fifi?
I know Freya was your friend, but if you're trying to hide something...
You did not know Freya, so this might be difficult to understand. She did her own thing, in her own way. By concealing Freya's written accounts, it is simply my intention to preserve her innocence.
Innocence?
Might be easier if you just let us read the diary, Fifi.
Very well. I will open it. However, as you read it, please remember, Freya was the most kind and the most wise person I have ever known.
All right, Fifi unlocked the diary.
Finally. What's in there?
Dearest Flora, a remarkable woman. Oh, yes. Been married over 20 years now.
You two still get on?
Of course. What a question.
She hasn't gone quiet on you.
It's true she has an independent streak. She's had it her whole life. She's the youngest of 3. Always something of a lone wolf, you know? Just the way she is.
Lone wolf is putting it lightly. She doesn't seem to want to talk to anyone.
She just likes time to herself, away from the company of other humans.
Other humans?
Well, yes, other people, you know. You're the one currently basking in his presence. You tell me.
Let's move on.
My daughter Fiona, our little burgeoning genius. You've met her?
We did. She's going by Fifi these days.
So I've heard. I asked her some weeks ago, what's wrong with your real name? She told me, get this, she wanted a name with an even number of syllables. She makes up the strangest things when she's under pressure.
What makes you think she made that up?
I happen to know the real reason she prefers Fifi over Fiona.
Oh, yeah?
It's what Freya called her. Quite the character, eh? A fellow member of the Order of the Crimson Cloak.
Is that a real thing?
No, I just meant because we both wear, red capes of a sort.
Has she questioned you yet?
If you call that questioning, she seemed bored by everything I had to say. I heard on the grapevine, supposedly Hawkshaw is searching for some rare item, something called the Golden Beetle. Honestly, it's probably a bunch of sensationalist rubbish.
You reckon?
Quite sure. There is no treasure called the Golden Beetle.
How do you know?
Because I would have heard of it. Uncommonly skilled as an artist, but Freya was so much more than her talent. She helped me get started with my own painting, It taught me what she knew about wood carving, too. Tremendous patience. She was ever so good with dear Flora.
Freya and Flora were close?
Oh, yes, especially recently.
How are you related to Freya?
Somewhat distantly, as it happens. My father, Lord Fellow, was her grandfather. Technically, that makes her a Fellow. Let's just say there was some discussion over whether she ought to carry the name at all. There's a family tree in the Grand Hall. You should take a look at it.
What about her inheritance?
Freya's parents died when she was around 3 years old. She came to live here shortly afterwards.
Nobody left her a thing?
I'm afraid not. She had no formal claim over anything at Tangle Tower. Fitz? I don't trust him. He's slippery. Never commits to anything. Brain like an onion.
An onion?
Did you two have an argument?
No, but my daughter doesn't like him at all. And I trust Fiona's judgment entirely. She's a very vigilant young woman. Percival Pointer. Good old... So, what do you reckon? Is he the murderer?
I don't know, maybe. We still need...
That is not information we're willing to share at this time.
I'm just saying, keep an eye on him. Holds on to a lot of bitterness, does old Pointer. Just because he's always struggled to support his family. Slightly pathetic, really.
And how long have you known him?
Over 35 years.
Childhood friends? Rivals?
Don't know if I'd do him the honor of considering him my rival. Penelope seems to have really settled into a groove. She struggled a bit when she was younger. Always a little estranged.
How come?
Well, she was mostly raised by her uncle, and he really only makes time for his own daughter. Now, of course, she's bringing the two families together through her marriage. It's a nice gesture, heartfelt, but futile. Poppy's a good friend to my daughter, always has been. I think they get on well because they're so different.
Different, like how?
Poppy is, she's quite introspective, good with feelings. Fiona, not so much. Still, Poppy always seems to be sulking about something.
The heavy, heavy price of emotional intelligence.
Charming, isn't it? Yes, built by the Remington family originally. Dear Flora's father and his associates.
But now it's owned by you? By the Fellow family?
The Fellows and the Pointers have both come to claim a certain degree of ownership.
And who named it Tangle Tower?
Flora chose the name.
What does it mean?
I think it was her intention that it mean nothing at all. Something of a fresh start.
From what?
This really isn't for me to say, but she had some kind of disagreement with her siblings. After they moved away, Flora changed the name of the house. I think perhaps she hoped it would make them feel unwelcome, less likely to come back.
That's kind of extreme.
Yes, it is rather, isn't it? What's this?
It's my case file. It's how I know what I'm supposed to be doing.
You mean to say you're bound by the limits of what's written in this little document? Sounds dreadful.
I found it comforting.
That looks like it might belong to Poppy. Rather ugly, isn't it, as far as statues go? Years of wind and rain have not been kind to it either.
Do you know what it is? The creature, I mean.
It's connected to the Remington family history in some way, but I can't recall. I'm as confused as you are. It would have been a beautiful painting. It's rather a shame Freya was unable to finish it.
Nothing about it seems strange to you.
Well, all these modern paintings are slightly strange, aren't they? The emotion of the piece taking over from, say, anatomical accuracy.
What about the knife in Flora's hand?
A knife? That's what you see?
You don't?
Well, as I was saying, Freya's artistic approach distorts certain shapes. Hard to say exactly what we're looking at. It's unlike her to leave paint on the brush.
I think we'll give her a pass, given the circumstances.
Ah, yes. So we shall. Looks like Freya's paints.
Do you know why the pots are cracked down one side?
No, that's very odd. They're normally in excellent condition.
You seem pretty sure about that.
Flora's quite fond of that old thing. It's in poor shape, though.
Do you know what happened to it?
Can't say I do. But that looks like it might belong to Poppy.
Does Flora normally keep something in here?
She must do, but I admit I've never managed to work out what.
Why not just ask her?
I feel like if somebody keeps something locked away in a ceramic egg, it's because they don't want to be asked about it.
Rules to live by.
I've been carving for a couple of years now. I was hopeless when I started, but it didn't take me long to master it, as you can see.
Do you paint them yourself, too?
I do indeed. Freya kindly taught me the basics. Nowadays, I can make just about anything I can imagine. Of course, this particular model is a self-portrait based on hard fact.
Hard fact, huh? So, you own a sword, Felix?
Of course. I own a great many. But my weapons are stored well away from Tangle Tower. Safety first and all that. Ah, you found it. What do you think, huh? I had to rush the final touches a little bit. It turned out all right, though.
What's it supposed to be?
It's Flora, of course, surrounded by all her favorite people. Freya was quite the talent. She had a way of capturing the spirits of her subjects. Not in an evil way, in a good way. That's one of Freya's paintings, is it not? It's impressive, but a little miserable for my tastes. My daughter Fiona and her best friend, they grow up so fast.
Do you know why it's ripped like that?
Ah, yes. I didn't even notice. No idea. Where did you find that?
It was in the library.
Really? How odd. Why would someone lock up a book like that?
We think it's a secret diary.
Aha! Teenagers are funny, aren't they? Why don't you ask Fiona about that one? Looks like her area of expertise. That looks like it might belong to Fitz. Now this is still in very good condition, apart from the crack, of course.
What about those shards on the inside of the horn?
Looks like somebody broke a glass and was trying to conceal the evidence. Cunning. Bizarre things, aren't they? Penelope seems rather attached to them.
Do you not feel sorry for them in that little cage?
Come now, I'm sure they could leave if they really wanted to. That looks like it might belong to Fitz. Goodness me! I've never been one for music. Why not ask Poppy instead? Oh dear.
Do you know who this is?
Not a clue. What's this all about? Some kind of rare jewel?
I'm pretty sure the research is about a real insect.
If it's made of gold, then it's made of gold. I've never seen that before. Looks valuable. Is that a clue? Really?
It might be. The statue was up in the rooftop garden.
Yes, it's been there a while. You can see the brass is slightly tarnished by the elements. But it's not too bad. Might be salvageable. What is it?
We don't know. We were really hoping you would.
My friends, shed your hope and let it fall free like sandbags from a hot air balloon.
That's the most depressing idiom I've ever heard.
There's something about Felix's painting supplies. Something suspicious.
Let's ask him about it.
There's something about the image of Flora in the painting. Something suspicious.
Let's ask her about it.
So, about this paint we found in your room.
Nothing suspicious about it. I used it to paint, obviously. Totally normal thing to do.
We never said it was suspicious.
Come on then, out with it. What exactly are you accusing me of?
It's not your paint pot. Did you take it from somewhere else?
What on earth? It's definitely mine. I even have proof. Look, the lid matches the ones on all my other paint pots. End of discussion.
That's not the end of the discussion.
We need a clue to compare with Felix's red paint. Something to prove who it actually belongs to. Let's take a closer look at this. Freya's red paint pot was stolen and replaced with Felix's red paint pot, but the lids were swapped to hide it.
That red paint is from Freya's supplies, not yours. Swapping the lids doesn't hide what you did.
Why are you bothering me about paint anyway? And none of this is connected to your murder.
This red paint pot was somehow filled with blood before Freya used it to paint Flora.
Oh, that's definitely something. Right, fine. Here's the story. I was busy working on a project when I suddenly realized I had run out of red paint. There was a certain amount of time pressure, so I politely asked Freya if I could borrow hers. Just for a little while, you know. Perfectly reasonable request.
But she said no.
I tried to explain why I needed it, but she didn't seem to care. So, I took Freya's red paint pot and swapped it with my own empty one.
You went into her room?
Not my proudest moment, but it's just paint. I didn't touch anything else.
And the paint pot you left behind was definitely empty?
Quite. I have absolutely no idea how it got blood in it, if that's what you're asking.
Why were you in such a hurry to get a hold of red paint anyway?
I was trying to finish this in time for Flora's birthday. I needed red to paint the final details.
Could you not have just used a different color?
Out of the question. It had to be red and white.
If you managed to finish it, why haven't you given it to Flora yet?
Well, I decided against it in the end. After what happened, seemed a bit insensitive.
Did you ask Freya to paint this? Or was it her idea?
What is that you're holding in the painting, Flora? Some people have been saying it's a knife. Is this your gramophone?
Do you know why it's cracked? Flora, this is your egg? Why do you keep it locked?
Is there supposed to be something in there, or is it always empty? What do you think of your husband's hobby?
Do you have any hobbies? You haven't seen this yet, have you?
It's a little model of you. Who were the other people next to you?
This is a photo of Fifi, isn't it? Your daughter? Have you seen this book before? Do you know who it belongs to?
I really thought she was going to say something there.
Do you know anything about these birds? Or birds in general? Do you know anything about this beetle?
Do you recognize any of these feathers? Do you know what this is?
Guess not. Anything we should know? Any hobbies? Besides staring out the window? We met Felix, your husband. He's one of our suspects, and he seems pretty suspicious if you ask me. So, if you want to stick up for him, now's your chance.
Nice try. We spoke to your daughter, Fifi. She's some kind of super intelligent scientist. You must be proud of her. We spoke to Hawkshaw. I assume she didn't get anything out of you either. I bet that really ticked her off.
Were you close with Freya? How are you two related? Did you kill Freya?
Grimoire!
What? I don't even think she's listening.
Oh, she's listening.
Do you and Fitz have anything to do with each other? Other than your initials? You know the guy in the other tower? Weird astronomy professor guy?
Can you see him from your window? Can he see you?
What do you know about Penny?
I can't really imagine those two being friends, to be honest.
You never know. Do you and Poppy get along?
Nothing. Shocker. Grimoire, what could you possibly be writing down?
Oh no, I gave up making notes ages ago. Now I'm just doodling in the margins. So, this painting, specifically that knife in Flora's hand.
Yeah, it's creepy. But we didn't find a knife anywhere in the room. So what's going on?
It's not a knife. We need a clue to compare with the painting. Something to explain what that knife shape actually is. Let's take a closer look at this. The painted knife is actually just a feather from an ink-dip bird.
It's definitely the right shape, but the book's not in color. The thing Flora's holding in the painting is red and white, specifically. Is there anything to suggest that the ink-dip bird is red and white too? This little thing? I don't understand why Felix would make a model of this bird as part of a gift for Flora. And come to think of it, why would Flora be holding a feather in the painting anyway?
The ink-dip bird was Flora's pet, so she kept a single feather to remember it by.
She kept the bird as a pet. And it died?
Maybe it flew away.
Flora spends all her time staring out the window.
Either way, she kept the feather. I think it was pretty important to her.
All right, so she was holding the feather while Freya was painting her. But where is it now? You'd think she'd keep it somewhere close by.
Yeah, I think she does. Normally. This is where Flora usually keeps her feather.
But we opened it. It's empty.
Mm-hmm. Completely empty. Flora? She's pointing at something in the corner of the room.
It's just a pile of books. They're not... Wait, there's something tucked inside this one.